Welcome to Chapter 17 of Essentials of Healthcare Finance, where we are discussing cost variance analysis. Cost variance analysis is of great potential importance to the healthcare industry. The successful use of cost variance analysis requires a sound system of standard setting or budgeting and a related system of cost accounting. Perhaps the major factor impeding the widespread adoption of more effective cost variance analysis in the healthcare industry has been the lack of interaction between it and existing systems of cost accounting. Cost accounting systems usually serve two basic informational needs. First, they supply data essential for product or service costing, and second, they provide information for managerial cost control activity. The second role is the major topic of this chapter. Efficiency cost is a term that is used to describe the cost incurred when an operating system, a department, or responsibility center is out of control when compared to budgeted standards. The objective of management should be to minimize the efficiency cost of any given situation. While accomplishing this objective, two major alternatives are available to management. One, the preventative approach, and two, the detection correction approach. The second approach focuses upon variance analysis, which is the primary topic of this chapter. There are three primary areas of variance analysis application that are discussed in the chapter. Facility-wide analysis, which seeks to explain why costs have changed from prior period values or budgeted values. Variances are broken down into cost and intensity of service. The next is departmental analysis, which seeks to explain why costs have deviated from a budget. Variances are broken down into three areas: price, efficiency, and volume. And third, variances for managed care plans, which seeks to provide a method for assessing deviations from budgeted and actual costs. Variances are broken down into four areas: enrollment, utilization, efficiency, and case mix. The learning objectives for this chapter are to describe what is meant by cost control, describe the two major theories used for the detection of out-of-control costs, define variance analysis and how it is used by management, calculate the various types of cost variance, explain and calculate price, efficiency, and volume variances. Efficiency cost is the total cost incurred by an organization that results from an out-of-control situation. Efficiency cost is recognized as T times R times P, with T being the total time units from problem occurrence to correction, R the loss or cost per time unit, and P probability that the problem can be corrected. Alternatives for minimizing efficiency cost are done through the preventative approach, which attempts to minimize the P, the probability of a problem occurring, and with emphasis on staffing the right people, giving the right motivation, and providing relevant training. And the detection correction approach, which attempts to minimize T, which is the total time problem. The emphasis is on reporting and variance analysis. The requirements for variance analysis include the standards or the budgets, the related cost accounting system, and the fixed or variable split of costs. The phases in cost control include the recognition of the problem, the determination of the problem or the cause, and the correction of the problem, whether it was budgetary or operational. An alternative method to determine when to investigate a variance is to create a control chart. Control chart you can create within Excel, and it is much better than trying to use averages. It will provide a line graph essentially over a time period to see where your median is in relation to the upper control limits and lower control limits, which are traditionally set at 2 standard deviations from the mean. I personally prefer 1 standard deviation, but that would be really up to the user. Variance analysis can be done at the facility level, where a high-level explanation of why costs have changed can be explained. The Departmental Responsibility Center, where you can look at prior period cost analysis and do some budgetary cost comparisons, and also at the health plan or the managed care plan. Variance analysis at the facility level, we can look at the cost per discharge changes that result from either resource price changes, productivity changes, or intensity changes. And you will find all of this in your text, but the cost equation is listed here below, which will address the cost, direct and indirect, per unit of output in each department, and the units of output in each department that are required per adjusted discharge. There are two splits of the indices in the variance into the causes. The first being the Hospital Cost Index, or HCI, which is the change in cost due to price and productivity, and then the Hospital Intensity Index, or HII, which is the change in cost due to changes in service intensity. At the departmental level, the causes of variance can be looked at in terms of price, which are the wages or prices of supplies that differed from the budgeted amount; efficiency, which are the resource quantities used that were different from the budgeted amount; the volume, actual volume of services that differed from the budget; and utilization, the output provided that was different from what was required. Categories of variances, again, price, the variance equals actual price minus the standard price times the actual quantity. Efficiency, and that variance is the actual quantity minus the standard quantity times the standard price. And volume, which the variance is actual volume minus the standard volume times the standard fixed cost per unit. Variance analysis for managed care contracts will look at cost, which equals the inpatient cost plus the outpatient cost, the IPC, which is the admissions times the cost per admission, which equals the enrollees times the admission per member times the cost per admission times the admission case mix index. And the outpatient cost equals visits times cost per visit, which equals enrollees times visits per member times cost per visit times visit case mix index.